Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Nerd Week Live here on YouTube, brought to you by us, the folks at Nerd Caliber. Take a quick look over here to make sure all my sound is turned off this time, because it wasn't the last 2 weeks. Yeah, it was kind of annoying. And thank you for joining us. I am Rodney Brown, editor-in-chief of Nerd Caliber, first-person shooter on Facebook as a cosplay photographer, Burley_adopter on Twitter, tech journalist, and joining us tonight. We're going to start with the wonderful. Actually, we got two caps. How we're going to do this? The wonderful teal and yellow cap, and that would be Go. Introduce yourself.
Oh, hi, I'm Gogo Incognito. I have been with Nerd Caliber for a while. I love absolutely doing this. And the best part is, if you are going to New York Comic Con, you are going to get to see me and talk to me, because I will be on the mic. I'll be interviewing you. So get your cosplays ready, because it's going to be
One hopes. New York Comic Con is always amazing. And also joining us tonight is the man with the tam, the golf cap, tam o'shanter, whatever you want to call it. Byron, introduce yourself.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, others of the interwebs. I am Byron McNeil, aka Byron D0. I perform a number of tasks on Nerd Caliber, movie reviews. I do videos occasionally. I'm also working as a cameraman for them now, and it feels good. And I also do social media for them at cons as well. So you'll see me at a bunch of different cons coming up. LeakyCon, NYCC, AAC, if you're in the Massachusetts area. And I'm definitely going to be at New York Comic Con. I will be videotaping this gorgeous creature over here. Well, actually, you're both gorgeous. So.
Oh, is that me?
He meant me. He must have been. No, I don't.
Okay.
Oh, and on top of that, I have a couple of podcasts that I'm working on. I just released the first episode of my brand new podcast, the Executive Dysfunction podcast, which is all about attention deficit disorder. I am doing that one by myself, and I ramble on and on about it. I got another one coming up pretty soon. If you like talking about ADHD, sharing your stories, check it out. It's on Google Play and iTunes. And I have my maiden voyage into podcasting, the Weeb Trash Can podcast, which is where me and my friends talk about all things anime.
Yay, and yes, and awesome. And before we get into our topics, iFlex first, and welcome to the show. Waifu Pennywise, welcome back. Country Humans, hello. Wolf Riley, hello. Love and hate are the same thing, ye. Hello, and thanks for being a big fan. Waifu asked, did all of you see It Chapter 2? You know what? I know I didn't. I know Byron didn't, although he was supposed to be our reviewer, and then things got in the way. So we do have a review up on the website if you want to go check it out. But nope, we're 3 Chapter 2 non-watchers right here, at least so far.
Very scary. Don't do the scary.
You don't do the scary. I do the scary, but
I do the scary as well.
But it's not my first choice. But our first topic, look at that segue, is this right here. And what appeared on your screens there, folks, is, of course, a Funko Pop. It's Zuko, because that was a cool one when I was looking for stuff. And it has nothing to do with Zuko. It has nothing to do with Avatar. What it has to do with is apparently the worst decision made by Warner Brothers in a long time. They are going to be making an animated Funko Pop movie. And the world just got stupider. I have no idea why they think this is a good idea. Well, actually, I guess I do have an idea.
No, I guess I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So explain why you think it's a good idea, Gogo.
I mean, okay, let's just put it out there. Lego, we thought it was going to be stupid. It was actually really good.
Yep.
I haven't watched all the Lego ones. I know some were like direct video for kids, this and that. But like, the first one was really good. And I've watched it a bunch of times. And I was like,
So was
this
the Batman
is...
Lego movie.
Lego Batmans were awesome, too. Lego movie, Lego Batmans.
That was also really good. But then came the emoji movie. This is me making emoji.
Yeah, this is the emoji poop. Yeah, okay, that's because
Emoji
that's
poop.
kind of what that
Yeah.
movie was.
But that's what they did, and then all these things are already in like production. They're already in green light. And they already go. The thing is that Funko. I will say Funko Pops, as a huge collector, as somebody who has probably like 300 of them, it's amazing. It's amazing. You absolutely have a platform here to go and make a movie out of it. If you turn it into, I don't know what I can say.
You turn it into garbage, is what you're saying?
I'm turning it into
Doo-doo.
shit. I just didn't want a family friendly show.
Yeah, I don't see this working out. I mean, they've got supposedly the person who is writing the storyline is this guy Teddy Newton, who is Oscar-nominated director, and working on it also is a Disney Animation veteran director Mark Dindal. But this is the studio that did not bring us Lego and all that other stuff. This is the studio.
Really? I thought Warner Brothers did do the Lego movies.
Oh, they did. You're right. I'm sorry. My bad.
Yeah.
And they did, the Lego Batman. They did the Lego Harry Potter. But on their current slate of the animation group is Space Jam 2, Scoob, and a Tom and Jerry movie.
Not another one.
Really? Why?
Well, wait. It's a Lego Tom and Jerry?
No. No, just these are from Warner Animation Group. So I'm assuming that Space Jam 2 is going to be like Space Jam, the original. It's going to be a combination of, animation and live action, but not Lego. None of those that I listed are going to be sort of stop motion or computer faked stop motion animation, which is what all the Legos are. They're not actually moving the little figures. It's a computer that's faking it to make it look like they're stop motion animation. But this one, I would assume, is going to be like that because you've got figures. So.
Yeah.
And they are super cute.
I own like only 2 Funkos myself, but I mean, there definitely is room for a well thought out script with this kind of stuff. If they do what they did with the Lego movie and play to and go far left with the angle instead of trying to make it like I'm losing my wording for it, but like if they play it straight, if they play it straight, if they are self-aware, if they go for the meta humor, right. I can see this being
The problem is being a hit. Go ahead, go.
No, again, as somebody who has over 300 Funko Pops, no denying it, I just do. And they range from like Elvira to like weird, like that one Beetlejuice look that he wore in like one scene, to all of The Walking Dead, to like Game of Thrones, to this, to that, to this, to that, to that. I mean, how do you take all of the fandoms that you've been doing for so long and turn it into something complete?
Well, again, you do it like they did with the Lego movie, the one that has Batman and all of these other characters in it.
You make it meta.
But
get out.
Here's the problem: is that with Warner Brothers owning the DC properties, they Waifu asks, is it a Funko Pop Batman movie? It doesn't seem to be, although because Warner Brothers owns DC, one would assume those are the characters that they're going to be able to get access to, unless they want to pay money to license things like, Avatar's characters, which I doubt they're going to, which means you've got funny animation of animated small figurines doing meta humor with probably DC. That's the Lego movie.
Yes, I was just about to say, that's the risk they run. They're retreading on the Lego movie.
Right.
They definitely are going to run the risk of being uninspired because, let's face it, no one asked for this movie.
Well, yeah, probably, except for the people at Funko who are undoubtedly paying Warner Brothers a certain amount of money to, I don't know if that's asked, but,
Yeah, I mean, it could go one or two ways. It could be this awesome deconstructive or deconstruction piece of comedic cinema, or it could be the Emoji Movie, contrived and uninspired AF.
Yep. Although Emoji Movie
we'll
wasn't
wait
Warner
and
Brothers,
see.
was it? That was
Sony.
Sony. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, and Sony Animation doesn't have the best pedigree.
No, no. Waifu Pennywise. Everything is awesome if you're in a Lego movie, but they can't use that now. Anyway, we're moving on. No sense of when this is going to happen. They literally just announced that they're in the works in working up a script and so on. So I wouldn't assume that you can expect this in 2020. I would assume it's 2021. Waifu, Sony ruins everything. Not everything, but a lot. Moving on to our next topic is that wonderful gentleman right there. The news is Marilyn Manson, that is Marilyn Manson, as
Yes.
Marilyn Manson looks lately, is going to be in season 3 of American Gods. And this is like the best casting in the world because he plays the lead singer of a Viking death metal band that becomes one of the biggest sort of power bases and proponents and worshippers of Mr. Wednesday. Who, if you have not seen American Gods, it's not much of a spoiler to say that he's Odin, but it's a kind of a little spoiler, but we'll put that in there. So, yeah, Marilyn Manson, coming to American Gods, Season 3.
I have had the absolute privilege of working with him multiple times back in the day.
Cool.
And I have to say, I think this is going to be... I think it's going to be so good. Because every time I've been on set with him, he has literally been up like 2 hours before call time. He is on set all day. He is every character you want him to be. And I think maybe this is just... I know he's doing what he does, but it's going to be good. It's going to be right. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Like... Well done, sir. Just that. Well done with the casting. Well done with the acting. I think it's going to be perfect.
I think...
Just a second. Waifu, American Gods, not American Goths. Although it would be American Goths. That's actually kind of funny.
That sounds like a documentary waiting to happen.
Exactly. A series on Stars based on a Neil Gaiman book. Unless you were making a pun, in which case, excellent pun. Sorry, Byron. I jumped on you.
Okay, so yeah, I never really been much of a Marilyn Manson fan of his music, but I'm totally here for seeing his take on this series because given the larger than life cast of characters in the mythos of American Gods, he'll fit right in.
He will fit right in, and come on, Byron, we're all stars in the Dope Show.
Oh, I got that reference.
Yeah, and for any of our younger audience members who probably don't really know Marilyn Manson's music, that's a line from one of his songs. Go, thanks for putting that in there. I had no idea that you had worked with him. I have heard that he is like a really consummate professional, which is so against his image.
No, absolutely. I've worked with him on 3 different music videos going back a while back when that was his bread and butter. And he was absolutely, again, being somebody who that was my job, was working in the production of music videos. That was my gig. And so I was on set, as a producer, it'd be like, you go here, you go here, you go here. And he was literally, for 3 music videos, like, he was the absolute ultimate star, but also the one you didn't have to worry about at all. And also the one who, when it was like lunchtime, craft services, he was the one who, in all his, like, I have no idea what my thing can see. He's that tall. Yeah. But he'd come and he'd sit down with people and just be like, how's your day going? What do you think? And people would be like,
How about them
It's-
Patriots?
It's good. It's good. But I absolutely adore him as seeing the human behind the whole setup he's done. But I do think this man can do it all, and I'm excited to see this.
Yeah, and apparently he was a regular cast member on Sons of Anarchy for many seasons,
Really?
which I did not know.
No, me neither. That was too violent for me, so I scooped it. I went whoop. Well, okay.
So he's got the acting chops in addition to all of the other stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this. I like American Gods a lot. It's a great series.
I
It's
don't
just
doubt his acting prowess at all. I mean,
No, he's going to bring it. He's going to bring it with absolute professionalism.
he's a performance artist, so of course he
That-
knows how to act.
Yep.
Exactly.
All right. Moving on to our next story, and this one is a little bizarre. So it takes a little explanation. So that picture that just popped up in front of you is Emma Thompson. That is Emma Thompson's daughter. And I want to get her name right because I'm going to mess it up. It is Gaia Wise. There we go. The story is that these two and a bunch of other people are going to be in an upcoming movie called The Lost Girls, which is
Right.
a take on how the world or the events of Peter Pan affected the Darling family, including Wendy Darling, who's played by Livia De Paulus, and who is also directing it. And Emma Thompson is going to be playing Wendy's mother. Ellen Burstyn is in it, playing Wendy's grandmother. And Gaia Wise is playing Wendy's daughter, which is kind of typecasting, again. But it sounds really cool. I like the idea of exploring that aspect of the Peter Pan universe that hasn't really been touched on, because you got to figure, the book ends, the Disney movie ends, and it's like, okay, the Darling kids are back there in their world, but they know that there's this Neverland off there, and that Wendy is going to be pining for Peter for the rest of her life. So how did this affect that whole family? So I like this idea.
Yeah, I'm always a big fan of any story that's like what happens after Happily Ever After. One of my favorite plays of all time, Into the Woods, does that.
Yep.
And
that's a great comparison. I didn't even think about that. Good call.
Great.
Yes.
Byron, yes.
Because you never you never really get you never see that in outside of a few instances. Like most stories nowadays, there's like, oh, they won the day, it's over. I would love to see this come into fruition as soon as possible. Because again, make another comparison. 3 Billboards does a similar ending where it's just like there is no concrete resolution. It just keeps going.
I get what you're saying, but boy, that's an interesting comparison. Peter Pan universe and 3 Billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri. Whew.
Yeah, I'm not. Bye.
Yeah. Just to decide, if you haven't watched 3 Billboards, watch it. It's one of the best movies ever made.
Yes.
Okay.
My one question is, are they going to play it rooted in reality, or are they going to go for the more fantastical side of the Peter Pan lore? Because I can see this being like reality driven with like callbacks to the book in flashback scenes.
So the way they're describing it here is the film will follow how Wendy struggles to retain her creative spirit after her fantastical journeys with Pan. So that sounds to me it's more grounded in reality, but they also mentioned that Peter apparently starts to have an effect on Wendy's daughter, who's named Barry in this, which is kind of funny, Berry, as opposed to like Barrie.
Barrie, yeah.
Right. It's the name of the guy who wrote the book, folks, for those of you who don't know.
J.M. Barrie.
Exactly. I'm guessing there's going to be some sort of fantastical elements if Peter does come into Wendy's daughter's life. But it also sounds more like it's grounded, kind of like Hook, where the first half of it was literally about, how Peter was living in the real world, played by Robin Williams, and was an accountant or whatever the heck he was. Like, pretty boring, actually.
I could see them pulling a Return to Oz with this story.
Hopefully better, but yeah. I mean, there were things about Return to Oz I really liked, but overall as a movie, it didn't hold up.
Yeah, I like the concept.
Yeah. Gotcha. Oi. Welcome to the show. We're talking about nerd news that popped up all throughout the last week, and we talk about all sorts of subjects. We're right now on a movie called Lost Girls, which is going to be looking at the effect of of Peter Pan and his interaction with Wendy Darling on the entire Darling family, Wendy's daughter and Wendy's mom and grandmother and so on. Just a powerhouse cast: Ellen Burstyn, Emma Thompson, and Emma Thompson's daughter playing her daughter. So, but no date on this. We have no idea when it's coming out. Again, like other movies we've talked about so far in the show, I'm guessing 2021 at the earliest. But talking about a movie we do know is coming up soon. More cast additions to Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad 2, that is. This is Alice Braga from her appearance in Will Smith's I Am Legend. Richard Matheson's I Am Legend, I'm sorry, as portrayed by Will Smith. And she has been cast in the upcoming Suicide Squad 2, being done by James Gunn. Like all of these castings, they do not say what Suicide Squad member she's playing. The only one we've got out of it, and it's not really an official confirmation, is that comedian Steve Agee is probably playing King Shark. But other than that, we don't know who Alice Braga is going to be playing, but he's also added James Gunn, the director and writer of Suicide Squad 2, which apparently is now being called, this is news to me, I just, in reading this in more depth, is being called The Suicide Squad, as opposed to Suicide Squad or Suicide Squad 2, which implies that it really is a kind of a reboot. Michael Rooker is joining the cast.
Oh,
Never mad about that. Okay.
Never mad about that.
No.
Oh, the thoughts of what, I mean, Michael Rooker plays such a wonderful bad guy. Bad guy with a heart often. That he could be almost anybody in the super deep pantheon of DC villains that have become part of Suicide Squad.
Could you imagine him as Killer Croc?
I could, but I don't know that I'd want all that SFX on him. He's just, because his face is just so real.
Although, I don't know, as a general rule, well, Gunn does a lot of SFX. I mean, Rocket Raccoon in Guardians and Groot were both all completely...
Yes, I know.
But in the original Suicide Squad, almost all of Croc was practical effects makeup. Which was kind of cool that they would do that, but also kind of made him look more like King Koopa. So,
that's fair.
But so this cast just keeps getting bigger and bigger, more amazing. This has more people already lined up in it than either of the Guardians movies. It's gonna be, I think, a huge cast, and it's James Gunn. It's gonna be awesome.
It better. That's all I have to say. It better.
Well, yeah, it's gotta be better than the first movie, because come on. And it doesn't have Cara Delevingne in it, so.
You mean her eyebrows?
Yes. Cara Delevingne and her eyebrows and her 12-year-old shimmy. Although, just as an aside, if you guys haven't seen Carnival Row, she actually is pretty good in that show on Amazon. I would recommend checking it out. Like everything Cara Delevingne, who apparently is an out lesbian, which I didn't know, but it now makes a whole lot of sense.
Out. Very, very, very.
She has zero chemistry with Orlando Bloom, because she has zero chemistry with any male lead she's ever had. But outside of that relationship, she's pretty good, and the world building is amazing. The fact that this isn't based on anything like any novel source, and the depth to the world building they've done is just wonderful. But
She, just going on this really, really hot, quick minute. She actually made a comment when she was a guest judge on RuPaul's Drag Race.
okay,
And one of the queens came through doing an enchantress-styled outfit, who had all the moves, and Kara and the queen actually had no idea Kara would be there when she picked it, and Kara was like, I maybe should have studied some more dance moves. And we're like,
yes, you should
because
have.
we all saw her going, whoa, 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 whoa,
Oh.
and we're all, and every dancer in the world is like,
Like I was said, it looks like a 12-year-old trying to imitate her stripper mom. It's
oh,
like,
I can't, oh, so
Um,
harsh.
yeah, I know. But it's accurate. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to this so much. Can't wait for this movie to come out. It's James Gunn. It's going to be great.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Moving on to talking about casting news, more casting news, and really big casting news for for the upcoming series, The Stand. So we're going to start with the last one, the most recent one, and that is Alexander Skarsgård, Pennywise's brother, Pennywise. I didn't realize this, that Bill Skarsgård, that these are brothers. Although when you think about the height and the lankiness, it kind of makes sense. But yeah, Alexander Skarsgård will be playing Randall Flagg, the Walking Man, the true evil that comes back to power after Captain Trips, the virus, kills most of humanity. This is him from True Blood as Eric Northman, and they couldn't have gotten a better casting than this. I think this is perfect. I'm looking up pictures of Eric Northman to try to find something to use on here, and like almost every one of them where he's not showing fangs is like, oh yeah, Randall Flagg does that. Oh, Randall Flagg does that. Okay, I can just use all of them. I'm really excited about this casting. In addition to that, and I'm really excited about this casting as well, that's Whoopi Goldberg, and Whoopi Goldberg has been cast to play Mother Abigail. The font, the source, the prophet of good in this sort of final battle of good versus evil in a world that's been mostly destroyed. And also an absolutely perfect casting.
Absolutely, positively.
Yeah, no disagreements here.
I totally, like, as soon as you posted that in the Facebook group, I was like, she's going to be Mother Abigail, right?
Obviously.
Yes. Totally
I have this out of order. Why do I have this out of order? My bad. This is me being confused about where all my information is up on my browser here. So hold on for a second. In addition to the Whoopi Goldberg announcement, or when they made the Whoopi Goldberg announcement, they announced who is going to be playing a number of the other important characters in the series. So Jovan Adepo is going to be Larry Underwood, the musician. I'm very glad that they... I think it's very cool that they cast an African American in this role, where he's played by a white guy in the miniseries back in the day. Owen Teague is going to be Harold Lauder, the nerd who winds up, the nerd from New Hampshire, actually, who winds up going with Franny for quite a while, who is a very complex character, let's put it that way. And then Brad William Henke, who's apparently from Orange is the New Black, is going to be Tom Cullen. M-O-O-N, that spells Tom Cullen.
Moon.
Yep. He travels with the lead character, Nick Andros. He is developmentally disabled, but he is a wonderful, wonderful character. Lots of opportunities for some amazing, cathartic, emotional moments because of this character and his condition, and it's fantastic.
I'm so
They
excited.
did not
for it.
scrimp at all on the casting for this. They did not scrimp at all. It's going to be incredible. It's
Yep.
going to be an entirely. It's going to be, and I feel like also for all of us who watched it, like who grew up with the books, and then watched it, and were like, this is going to be a whole new thing.
Yes.
And I think it'll be really, I'm really interested to get the perspective of people who maybe have read it, maybe not, but have seen it for the first time. Also, I'm really interested in the people who've read it and seeing it for the first time without seeing it for the last time. Because the last time, it wasn't bad, but it's going to be better.
I think it's got to be better for a couple of reasons. You've got better production values for any of the special effecty type, supernatural stuff, the horror stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to be. Oh, go ahead, Byron.
Yeah, because let's face it, the special effects from the miniseries have not aged well.
I will say there is that moment when I don't remember who she is. She's a woman of color, and she's sitting and she talks about rats in the corn.
Oh, that's Mother Abigail.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Played by the legendary Ruby Dee.
And I didn't know, as much of a fan of Ruby Dee, and Oscar Davis was also in the movie because it turned out somebody Ozzie Davis.
Yes.
Thank you. Because somebody who was cast for it wound up with health problems that ultimately brought him to his death shortly thereafter. But I didn't know that was Ruby Dee in heavy age makeup, because she wasn't even remotely that old at that time.
No, but her voice was everything, and it has stuck with me through the years. So I remember that exact scene, and it still creeps me out.
Yep.
Anytime I'm around cornfields, I think about that. No, I'm completely serious. I completely think about that.
Yep.
Her performance in the original miniseries stuck with me so long for a number of reasons. One, because she's a lesbian. Two, because she's always been gorgeous.
Yep.
Like, she was like the oldest crush I ever had.
That's a good crush to have, man. That's good taste.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Black, what can I say? Black don't crack.
Yep. And she's such a talent. I think it's great that they got Whoopi for this.
Yeah.
The one casting that I'm still waiting to hear is Trash Can Man. Matt Frewer played Trash Can Man in the original miniseries, and he was absolutely outstanding. I wouldn't say stole the show, but boy, every time he was on, you kind of wondered what sort of insanity was going to happen. But you also kind of felt a little bit for him, which I don't recall feeling that way in the book until we get very, very close to the end, when you start really understanding what drove Trash Can Man to be the psycho that he is.
Well, yeah, he is like the quintessential embodiment of chaotic neutral.
Yeah. And
I remember this character not at all, so I'm so excited to see it again.
Oh, good. That's
Yeah.
Like, I completely forgot about him until you started talking about him again, and then I'm just like, oh yes, I remember him. I remember as a kid watching.
At all.
I remember as a kid watching him and just thinking, what's he doing? Why is he like this? Like, what? Whose side is he on? And now when the memories come back to me, I'm just like, oh.
He gets ultimately. I was about to say something, but that's kind of a spoiler, so we won't talk about that at all.
Right.
Well, no, we can talk about Trash Can Man. What I won't talk about that. I was about to say as a response to Byron's comment that would have sort of spoiled something that happens later on. We don't want to go there.
One last thing I want to talk about. I'm so looking forward to seeing how they do Harold's Revenge.
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
Anyway, there's a lot of good things. We don't want to talk too much about what happens. Like, just mentioning that Franny and Harold, wind up sort of escorting each other. That's right at the beginning of the book. So that's nothing, that's not really giving anything away. Guardian Bailey, welcome. And neutral. Very neutral expression there. Moving on to our next topic. This is apparently, and I haven't read yet that this is fully 100% confirmed, but apparently HBO has given a pilot order for the second prequel series based on Game of Thrones mythos, and the rumor is, or the story is, that it's going to be based in old High Valyria.
Let me just do my dance. I'm just doing my dance of happy over here.
The image that's up there, folks, is there are no images from the series of old High Valyria. They never had a flashback like that, so you get to see what the ruins are like after the Doom when Jorah and, although he's not in there, oh, wow. Just Peter Dinklage's character. Just completely lost it.
Tyrion,
thank you. Tyrion row a boat through it. But anyway.
Row a boat through it in the books.
Well, yeah, it's different people who do it in the books, but yeah. Yeah, we don't want to get... If you haven't watched this, we could get into that, how the books differ forever and ever. What we can say is that if this does actually come to fruition as a series, you can assume that there's going to be a lot more magic than there was in most of the Game of Thrones series, because it's old Valyria, and these are the people with the dragons.
I was just going to say, there's going to be a ton of dragons in there, I know that much.
There's got to be, well, as I recall, the only ones that are actually the dragon controllers are the Targaryens, and I think there's limited to a certain number that can actually control a dragon in any given generation.
That is absolutely true.
Thank you.
So, sorry, super nerd here. So that would be the Targaryens with the Pureborn and like the King, Queen, polyamory.
Incest. Call it incest, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
They marry their sisters and brothers together, and
polyamory.
Yeah, but their kids come out looking normal.
And,
yeah.
Yes, and then there'd be like a few more. When I first saw this coming up on the to read list, I honestly got really excited because 300 years before, I thought maybe it was gonna. For those of you who've read the supplementary stories with Game of Thrones, I thought this was going to turn into the Dunk and Egg series that has been both graphic novels and like story that then leads into all the other things. And those are absolutely wonderful. But I realize it's going back a bit too far because really that is only 2 generations before. So I am really excited, and I also hope with all the love that the Dunk and Egg have gotten, that would be Duncan the Tall, and Egg would be Aegon, who is one of the last true Targaryens who's in Westeros before they start breeding out with the Dorne to not shrivel and die. I don't know that much about incest. I don't know what to say.
That sounds like you know an awful lot about it.
I'm an only child.
Nerd. I'm a nerd too. I haven't read Fire and Blood, which is the book that this is based on, which is the book that looks at the history of the Targaryens.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, everything that he writes is good. So I've been a George R.R. Martin fan from back in the days of Sand Kings and stories like that.
Exactly.
Ghost Boy, welcome to the show. And quickly, what this is about is we talk about nerd news that popped up in the past week, and we look at what it might mean, what are the implications of it, whether we're looking forward to it or not, and we take your comments and we talk about them. So that's pretty much what the show is, Nerd Week Live. And since they did just announce that this rumor is that it's about to hit a pilot order. It might appear in 2020, but it's highly unlikely. This would be probably a couple of years out before this series pops up if it actually makes it to an HBO series. Now, speaking of series and speaking of Game of Thrones, our last topic is, if you remember your Game of Thrones, that is Sir Beric Dondarrion, the Lord of Lights paragon in Westeros, resurrected from the dead multiple times.
Multiple times.
Because the Lord of Light can do that. The reason he's up there is that... that's not our last topic. Our next to last topic.
It's our penultimate
topic. The reason he's up there is that there's BBC America is going to do a series based on Terry Pratchett's Discworld series called The Watch. And Richard Dormer, who played Sir Beric Dondarrion, is going to be playing Sam Vimes, Captain of the Watch. And if you are a Terry Pratchett fan, this is absolutely enormous news. This is a hugely popular fantasy series, but like Good Omens, it's really hard to classify anything Terry Pratchett touches as a standard fantasy series.
Exactly. Just this is the start of something big, of something epic. That's something that's been coming a long time. Completely, like there is fandom upon fandom upon fandom. Like why is it taking so long? But I'm also not arguing about that because now I'm like, do it.
Yeah, it's taking so long, but hey, at least it's coming.
Exactly.
It's coming, and I would rather have it now than like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Like, bring it and make it right.
Yeah, if it would have come at an earlier time, it probably would have been a hot mess, because that's just how nuanced the comedy is in Terry Pratchett's work. Hollywood can't handle it.
No, and I think we have the streaming services now, and I think it's been like there have been toes dipped into different things, and just don't mess this one up, because this is a big one. Like, is it coming on Amazon? Is that what is happening?
BBC America. So I would assume...
that's fine. That's fine. It's gonna be
Yep.
great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I got it.
It's being written by Simon Allen, who wrote The Musketeers and Das Boot. Awesome. A writer from Doctor Who, a writer from Torchwood, the Doctor Who spinoff, which was awesome. A writer from Little America, and from a series called Skins.
I know Skins.
I know Torchwood, and I am everything here for Doctor Who.
Yes.
Same, fam. Same.
Yes.
Wibbly wobbly timey wimey.
It is going to be filmed in Cape Town, South Africa.
Okay.
I think that's pretty cool. I like the idea of, remember, the only thing I can think of right now was the battle scene between the Hulkbuster and the Hulk in Avengers Age of Ultron. That was filmed in Cape Town. And there's an amazing movie, the name of which escapes me. I'm not gonna. I can't even think of the actor now. I can picture his face, but which is set in South Africa, and it's a great cop heist movie.
Okay.
If I can remember it, I'll let you know. Luminous, hello, welcome to the show. Well, we're talking about The Watch. It may be an anthology series in the books. I get the impression, Luminous says, I hear it's an anthology series. Is Sam Vime a recurring character in the anthology? I believe so. I haven't read the anthology series. I haven't read any of the Discworld stuff, for that matter. But in this case, it looks to be more like a fairly straight-up ongoing TV series. It's kind of like, so it deals with all of these cops. Sam Vine is a cop, and it deals with all of these other cops that are in this insanely corrupt city that are trying to, well, do their job. And I get the impression it's going to be sort of like a fantasy version of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Ooh.
So, yes, go.
I think she's excited.
I'm very excited. Can we please, as this develops, can we please revisit this for
Oh, yeah.
all of the reasons? Okay, good. We will come back to this.
You haven't heard The Last of Us!
This one we do know, at least somewhat. It will air sometime in 2020. So that's a good thing. It implies that doesn't mean that it's going to be, or that implies that it's not going to be a very long series. It's probably going to be 8 to 10, which is the current thing for streaming services, episodes, as opposed to like 12 or longer. And it also implies that there's not going to be a ton of post-production special effects. Because if they're starting to film this month and it's going to air sometime within a year of the start of filming, that's not a lot of time for a lot of post-production stuff. So we'll see how that works out. But again, I haven't read the series, so I don't know how much of the magic stuff in this fantasy series there is in Discworld, or particularly in the Watch stories.
But again, if my takeaway from this is Discworld and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, oh gosh.
Now that's my theory based on the way they're describing what's going on here.
Oh gosh.
And knowing Terry Pratchett and his humor, so don't take that. That's me saying that. Nobody else has written that, so I could be way off.
The only way I would be more excited for this is if they did a series of the Hogfather. Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Just to see the Santa Claus scene where the girl gets the sword. I just want to see that.
Okay, I am not. Whatever you're putting down, I'm not picking it up. I'm just in my own world right now.
So that's another aspect of the whole Discworld series, right? There's the character, the Hogfather. Yeah. So. Anyway, so sometime in 2020, folks, we get to see this, what could be a really awesome series. Now we're moving on to our last topic. And this is a pretty deep one because it's got a lot of stuff jammed in here with this announcement. This announcement just happened today. And that is, what just popped up on your screen is, of course, some of the cast from the amazing Battlestar Galactica reboot. And the news is that NBC Universal has named the streaming service that it's been talking about forever and ever. It's called Peacock, which, unless you're as old as I am, means absolutely nothing to you. The NBC logo for decades and decades and decades was a Technicolor peacock.
I
do remember that logo.
There you go.
Yeah, no, I do. No, I do too. Come on. Yeah. This is what they did forever.
They did it forever.
The 80s babies.
Yeah. But within all of the news about this, one of the announcements was that they are going to be doing another reboot of Battlestar Galactica. And my initial reaction was, oh God, why? This thing that's on your screen right now was so close to perfect, aside from the super weird ending.
I never finished it, but I loved what I saw of it.
Oh, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. What a wonderful cast, wonderful writing, special effects that were so far beyond anything else on television at the time. It was movie-level special effects every single week. But then I read the article, and it's being produced by Sam Esmail, the guy behind, the producer, writer, the creator of Mr. Robot, and the executive producer of the, I think it's Starz series, Homecoming. That guy is amazing. So that made me feel a little bit better about this. And then we got the announcement that they were also doing, and I didn't put this up here as a picture because it's not really nerd, part of the reboot, they're going to be rebooting Saved by the Bell.
Oh, yes, I heard about that.
With, apparently, Mario Lopez and Elizabeth Berkley. Behind the scenes, basically executive producing, who are two people who were characters in the original series.
I heard about the premise for the show. Actually, they're saying that the reboot is going to be the fact that Governor Zach Morris has closed down all like the poor schools in California and rerouted all the lower income students to go to Bayside to take down the rich kids. To take the rich kids down a notch.
What?
Yes.
I'll tell you later.
I heard this from a friend of mine who works for NBC right now.
Wow. Wow. Yes. I just that might save by the bell this concept. I just don't. Why? Please, somebody have an original idea.
I think it's hilarious on paper, honestly.
Yeah. All right. Yes, it is. It is pretty funny. And I guess I shouldn't be, complaining about it since I'm now pretty excited about the reboot of Battlestar Galactica. And again, but I mean, really, they're doing a Punky Brewster, not really reboot, I guess, sequel because it's going to star Soleil Moon Frye.
Wait, I'm back with y'all. Okay.
Yes.
Were you gone? Did we lose you?
No. I was here. I was listening, but like I didn't catch that before. Really?
Yeah.
Yep,
Punky Brewster. Saved by the Bell and Punky Brewster are going to be part of the streaming service.
Peacock.
Yeah, on Peacock.
This might be too much to ask because I remember the cartoon series growing up. Can they use that theme song from it? Because it was like my favorite part of the whole Punky Brewster mythos.
But do you even remember the cartoon that they did? The little
That's what I mean. Use that theme song in this reboot, please.
No, it's not gonna happen. You know it's not gonna happen.
I know.
I
dream though.
You know what? I don't remember that, but then again, that was way beyond me. Luminous, The Return of Screech. Yeah, I can't imagine if it's updated. If Zach is now the governor of California, then obviously it's going to be all new characters, other than like the ones that are going to be popping in as adults. It would be hilarious if they get what's his name, Gosselaar, right? Mark Paul.
Yeah, Mark Paul Gosselaar.
If they get him to actually play Zach, because he's gone on and done some really good things as an adult actor, some real decent drama.
Yes.
To see him come back to a Saved by the Bell sequel, I guess. Again, this one you can't call a reboot, because it's taking place in modern times with the original characters aging. No Dustin Diamond. Lumina says, I could do without Dustin Diamond, though. Please, no Dustin Diamond. We don't want, no wrestling, no porn. No. That's, you don't remember Dustin Diamond doing a porno? I was going to say, go look that up, but probably don't look that up.
Okay.
Yeah, he did, sadly. So, Peacock, meh. Galactica, for me, with Sam Esmail involved, big up. And then the rest of the stuff is just a why. Why Saved by the Bell? Why Punky Brewster?
Why not?
Well, yeah, I guess why not, but...
So, Rodney, you had asked me why did I do this. I just have to say, again, in the weird way that nerd stuff goes in different places. I'm a cabaret singer, I'm a burlesque performer, and the strange thing is that all along Nerd Caliber is based in the Northeast. I'm based in the Middle South. And the Middle South Go Team Go before a show is all hands in, go Bayside. And I had actually been doing it for 2 years before I said, what the fork is this? And they're like, you not know? I was like, oh, it's that. So it absolutely lives on completely. I don't know how it got in, except for just being people who are not the norm and you just go doing the
And,
thing.
and why the South? Because the show is set in, Malibu
California.
or California.
I don't know, but it is like Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga, Atlanta, bapa 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 ba. That is
I guess
what we
they
think it
all
is.
wish they actually had oceans so they could surf like the folks in
And
Saved by
I
the Bell.
come from the East Coast, exactly. But that is the thing. It is hands in, go Bayside before the show. That is our good luck call to being like, we're gonna have an amazing show. So, random factoid for people who just like to collect random factoids.
You do realize I'm going to force you to do that at New York Comic Con then. When you show
Same.
up, we're going to go Bayside.
Bayside.
That'll be
I'm
our team
actually
chant
really
now.
well practiced in it, so I'm ready to go. I just last weekend.
Luminous brings this brilliant thing up back. I forgot about this. Dustin Diamond once boxed Ronald Gabriel Palillo,
Yes,
Horseshack,
Horseshack. I forgot about that.
from Welcome Back, Kotta.
For charity.
For charity, that's true. That's true. Anyway, we're coming up on an hour, so that wraps up our show. I didn't bring this up earlier. Does anybody have a quick could we please or could we not, or are we good to go? All right, Byron, fire away.
I've been hearing rumors about J.J. Abrams possibly taking on the DCEU. I'm going to say, could we please make this happen because I don't want the concept of the DCEU to die, and I feel like he could be the man to breathe some new life into it.
I think that the rumors are based on what is that? That's not my Google search. He signed an enormous deal with, and I think it was with Warner Brothers. And I think that's where that, $500 million deal to be exclusive to Warner Media, turning down an enormous offer from Apple. So I think that's where those rumors come from. Yeah.
Wow.
J.J. Abrams is going to be producing TV for the HBO Max, which is the Warner streaming service now. He's probably going to be producing stuff for DC Universe. Movies, of course, for Warner Brothers. He's their creative guy now for $500 million.
Great, wonderful, fine.
Now, I agree, and I think that would be perfect because science doesn't matter in comic book movies, and J.J. Abrams hates science.
A wee bit.
Here's my can we not, and it may be I've been off the podcast for a few weeks because I've been busy and I've been traveling. But can we not mess with Spider-Man anymore? Like, can we just please keep what's perfect and special and like Tom Holland and everything that's there? Because it hasn't been this good since forever, and there will never be another Spider-Man like this. So can we protect him and just?
I agree wholeheartedly. Now, Spider-Man will continue to be Tom Holland. It's just that Sony will, if they don't get this deal done, and they will get this deal done because it's too much money for both sides.
Yes.
If they don't, it just means that Sony will make crappy movies with Tom Holland.
I know, and that's
that scares me.
That's the forking problem. Is that why would you take something that was so perfect and so excellent?
So pure.
I get it. It's money. It's whatever. It's whatever. But Sony.
Exactly.
I'm watching you. You have so much to forking prove. And okay, that's it. I'm done.
I want to punch a Sony right now.
Yes.
Not my PS4.
I'm done. I'm done. But these are my feelings. Like, you don't take something that is. Why? Anyway, I'm done, Rodney. Take it away from me before
Awesome. All right, thank you, folks.
Baby.
Yes.
Protect my baby.
Precious baby. So thank you, folks, for tuning in. That's it for us. We will see some of you at AAC up in Chelmsford, Mass. In 2 weekends. We'll see hopefully a whole bunch of you at New York Comic Con, and then going on from there, lots and lots of cons. For Go Incognito, for Byron D0, and for myself, thank you, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Toodles.